You need to unmute yourself. Oh, there we go. I'll do it for you.
I didn't realise I had to actually do
Sorry.
that. Oh, I was
So
only going to use my
unfortunate.
mouth. Hello, nice to see you again.
Hello. Fancy seeing you
Oh,
here.
yes, we're here because we've got our Keep the Drama on the Stage theatre festival. So
Indeed, we do.
obviously we were supposed to do it yesterday, tonight, and tomorrow. But obviously, for obvious reasons, we are now doing it on live Facebook instead. And we have managed to get lots of clips and little scenes and things, probably much more than we would have done if we'd have done it over 3 days.
Yes.
So we're going to put it into our show tonight. So we're keeping the drama on the stage, and we're calling it that because, you know, when life seems hard to bear sometimes, we might kind of blow things out of proportion. Sometimes it helps just to think, keep the drama on the stage. And also, it's good to think about looking after theatres at this difficult time when so many of them have closed and don't know if they're going to be able to afford to reopen. So we're keeping the drama on the stage via Facebook, via online platforms.
It's an online stage.
Online, all the world's a stage.
Yeah.
So even the internet. So we've got quite a packed lineup, and Meg, you've put it all into a running order for us, haven't you? So
I
we're
have indeed, yes.
ready to go. So
yes.
we're not going to, for a change, I'm not going to talk much in between.
Yeah, no.
Because I talk enough during the interviews.
That is very true. So don't worry, you're not missing out.
No. So we're going to start off with the first little clip from Tmesis Theatre. And Tmesis were the last theatre company to perform at the studio before we locked down on the 8th of March with Wicked Women for International Women's Day. And we just thought it would be nice to catch up with them, find out what's been happening for them, and have a little chat all things theatre. So we'll hand over to Tmesis Theatre for our first video tonight. So I'm joined by Eleanor Randall, Artistic Director of Tmesis Theatre, and Claire Bigley, Producer of Tmesis Theatre. So Eleanor, can I ask you first, so why might we have come to you from the studio for our little theatre fest? What have you recently done at the studio for us?
So we recently brought Wicked Women to the studio, which was a performance with 10 female performers about amazing women that changed the world. And alongside that, we had debate and discussion around gender and what kind of things the show brought up. So that was one of our last performances as well before the lockdown.
So has the production of Wicked Women been affected by it, or had you finished that project?
Yeah, we just managed to finish the first sort of leg of the tour, and we're hoping to continue touring it, but obviously we don't know what and when we'll be able to do that.
Yeah. So is there any other pieces of work that have been affected by it in terms of planning?
Well, we had a performance of our previous show, Beyond Belief, at a festival, a digital arts festival, that had to be cancelled. And yeah, I mean, everything's kind of at a standstill, so we're just looking at what we can do in the meantime, really.
Yeah. So Claire, can I bring you in? You are the producer. You produced that show, Wicked Women?
Yeah, we worked together, Elle and I, on that show, and obviously working with the venues and the partners to get the bookings and to get the groups along, because part of the show was a conversation, which is a really important aspect of that piece of work. So yeah, that was my kind of role within that, facilitating the conversations.
We were lucky enough to be able to have the show because the Fortuna Female Society managed to get funding from the tampon tax fund, and obviously therefore that was allowed to come to the studio with free tickets for everybody. So again, it's about removing the barriers to the arts and to perhaps theatre that you might not normally go to, sort of encouraging new audiences. Is that something that Tmesis does? And that you look to do, Claire, when you're looking at the venues and who you're booking with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think all of the shows I've produced, I think maybe five or six shows with Tmesis now, and really it's about relationships with those venues. A lot, if you look back at our tour pattern, we tend to return to places because it is about relationships and it is about kind of audience development, not just for us as a theatre company getting those bookings. It's about balancing the two. So it's about trying to take the work to places that, as you say, may not ordinarily see physical theatre, and also breaking down the barriers of what people may have a preconception of what physical theatre is. So the work that Tmesis make is so accessible and so relevant, and it's also really funny and entertaining. So you've got the whole package, and I think that was what was brilliant about Wicked Women, was that we managed to, just before COVID, really engage with people that I don't think, if they were to pick up a brochure, would just say, "Oh, I'm going to see that show." So that is really something that the company strive to do with every piece of work, I would say.
Yeah. And Eleanor, recently I sent some feedback to you from the participants, as well as the conversations that they had in the day, and you could really see that it had a big impact, not just on the women, but actually some men in the audience as well gave some feedback. Is that sort of the type of feedback you've been getting throughout the performance, the production of it?
Yeah, and it was so great to get that. And what was really nice about doing the performance in this way, so we looked at a different model, which was, it wasn't an hour-length show. We could perform it a couple of times. And we also surrounded it with these conversations. So at each venue, I think it was really different because we really got to interact with the audience. And so I think that was something really interesting, because you can do a show and have a Q&A, but it's a format that everybody does. So we really got to understand and hear from the audience straight afterwards, which was brilliant. And we originally started as a street theatre piece, which I think is interesting, because when you're making street theatre, you have to think about how you engage people on the spot directly and engage people who might not normally go to theatre. So you can't be elitist about it and you can't be boring. But also, obviously, we want to say something. We want to do work that kind of makes, particularly with this piece, makes people feel empowered. So what was so lovely about being at the studio was the range of people that came to see it, of different ages, and like you say, men and women, and just that close contact. So obviously, we were so close to the audience, and immediately afterwards, the cast, who were all quite young women, some of whom were in the training company, so it's one of their first professional jobs. I mean, they had an incredible experience, because they could really feel and see the impact of their performance and work directly afterwards. So that whole kind of way of working was quite new for us. So I think it was really, really interesting and great that in two of the venues, yours and Edge Hill, all the tickets were free. So that barrier is completely removed, and then it's just about actually getting the people there.
And it is still difficult in terms of theatre being something that people put on their list every week, and obviously that's something that's very difficult at the minute. But with a lot of companies, and particularly at National Theatre and the RSC and stuff, putting stuff online, do you think that will benefit smaller companies in the long run in terms of people sort of connecting with theatre more? Do you think it'll have an impact on it? I mean, either one of you, Claire, looks like she's raising her eyebrows there. She might have something to say about that.
I mean, personally, I don't think it will change a lot of people. I think you'll find that if you were to do a kind of straw poll on who's actually tuning in, it's still those who ordinarily would access theatre, or a kind of class that would ordinarily know that the RSC or the National Theatre produce high quality work. Because, you know, to be really honest about it, if you were to ask people, you know, people will have heard of the RSC, they don't necessarily think, well, I want to engage with it. I think it's really it's kind of tokenistic to me, and it's also done in a way that we should all be grateful, and we should all be thrilled that these companies are showing us work, when actually, in reality, what we need to be looking at is why are people not being able to access this work for many, many years. I mean, even I can't afford tickets to those places. So for me, it's lovely, it's great, but it is just that, it's a bit of fluff, and it will, not change the sector one iota.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it kind of again highlights the difference between smaller organisations and bigger organisations, because they already have the facilities to record high quality digital output and they have it ready to go, whereas we don't, because we're a smaller theatre company struggling to survive and we make high quality work but struggling still to get that seen by a large range of people. So that divide, that really needs looking at, I think. And the National Theatre and the National Ballet and all those places, the RSC, that work should be online anyway. And like you say, so people, like us who are fairly privileged but not well off being artists, struggle to pay those levels of tickets, and those organisations have a huge amount of private and public funding, so that should be free anyway. So yeah, I don't think it will make a difference in that way. I think it's, what is interesting is how we engage people in culture, and how, like you were saying, culture is important. I think people are realising that a lot more, all kinds of people, like how do you entertain your kids, through education, but also art and craft and movement and music. And so I think there's areas where hopefully people are accessing more art, but I don't think the National Theatre is going to reach the people who live in communities that never went to the theatre now, just because it's online.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. And as you both say, I think why is it not already accessible? If something is a national organisation, then it's our national organisation. So it should be something that we either have all visited, or we've all seen a touring production of, or we've all had tickets. I have this dream of taking over a cinema when they do the live, because I really like to go and see the live theatre. I thought it would be awful because I hate recorded theatre. If you ever do a show and then you have to watch it back. Oh, well, I can't watch it back on video. It's just like but it's like a different medium. It's like almost a different piece of work now. This is not film, it's not theatre, it's not really something else. So that's quite interesting. But I have this kind of idea of taking over a cinema and having all the tickets free, so that people who've never been to the theatre before can access it and let it be a stepping stone, not to replace theatre, but just as an open door for people who would regularly think about going to the cinema, but not necessarily the theatre. So that's another thing we've got to work on. So if anybody wants to pay for that, that's fine. Not you. Other people watching the National. But it's things like that. You can do it, can't you? And I think one of the things that, as you say, people are realising that we do turn to arts in these times. Straight away people are accessing artist work, free sessions that artists are doing of all kind of art forms, and are turning to them to be entertained, and yet have never kind of stood up and said, this is a group of people we must support within our community and within our country, and really value them, because we've seen cuts to arts in schools and beyond, from public funding and what have you, as if it's almost an additional thing to the necessities of life. But actually I think it's very much there in terms of well-being and mental health, and the support that people have turned to in these times. So you already experienced the struggle regardless of COVID, because as you say, companies are struggling. What's your sort of thoughts on when you come out of this? How do you see the future for Tmesis now? And Eleanor, if you want to take
that. Well, I don't know, but I suppose I was talking last night actually in a board meeting about, not to be boring, but about actually potential opportunities that there might be for companies like ours that are constantly having to adapt and change over the years with never having regular funding.
Yeah.
And also companies that can work really quickly and have material and shows that can go out, that doesn't need millions of pounds and a massive rehearsal process. So I think I think if you are able to adapt, and it's just looking at what the need is, and you are able to go into communities directly and work, and I think it will be interesting, not to just change your whole way of working, but just look at how what you do already can then be taken out to try and actually populate spaces and get people kind of, when we are able to be out and about, connecting again. I think that would be quite interesting.
Claire, anything to add to that, and how you think Tmesis is going to change?
My background is arts development, and I think for me, what we're seeing now is absolutely what that, in essence, what arts development is about. It is about engaging at the very basic level and in your own home and at grassroots, and making sure. I'm quite. I'm optimistic about the Arts Council's new strategy. Let's create, and I also feel that we've kind of took a little bit of power back through this situation, I feel, and that we're much more able to question and to call out and to ask why, this is the strategy for the next 10 years. In a way, obviously no one knew that the pandemic was going to happen, but if you read that strategy, it really sits with how, in a way, the arts should have been, and will have to be when we come out of this. It isn't necessarily venue focused. It isn't necessarily focused on kind of elite work or necessarily touring work. Its focus is on people, on communities, on making change, making things accessible, working with what people know, and not trying to change somebody's culture or make it into somebody else's, and to really equip people with skills and empower them, which is what I think for many years within Halton, that's what our kind of what we strove to do. And I think really Tmesis is absolutely doing that, and I think that's why we've worked together for so long, really, because it's that synergy of thought. But I do think things will change. I think they have to, coming out of this. We can't, well, they just will, financially, but also I think society needs to really look at itself, because those people that we didn't value are those that we are all clapping for and cheering for and noticing now. And equally, I think in terms of artists, people are realising that actually these people and these thoughts, they matter at the end of the day, and I think schools especially are seeing the value of it. So I think things are going to flip.
Yeah.
That's my optimistic. You've got me.
I think it's sort of also highlighting as well, when you can sort of see which venues have genuinely been working and connecting with communities, and which artistic directors, like the studio is a great example of that, because you can see that there's a community there, but with others you can kind of just see from online that there isn't, and I think that's a really interesting thing to highlight. And they shouldn't really be getting away with it, because especially when they're being funded to be there, like we say, the National Theatre or any venue that is publicly funded is there for the people.
Exactly, and I think one of the things that shows when you brought Wicked Women to the studio was how much the cast and the audience were as equal in value to you, that it is that joining up. One can't have one without the other. And it isn't something that we're putting on this play regardless of whether the audience is there, and you should come to us because we're brilliant. I think that has definitely there's not a trace of that in Tmesis, which is lovely. And also, I don't think it benefits anybody from having that kind of attitude anyway. And you could definitely see, you know, the connection between the audience and the performers, and not just because of the discussion afterwards, but because of the intimacy of it, because of the accessibility of it, because they could recognise the people that they were showing were inspiring to them. And I think for me, seeing the quality and the commitment and the intelligence and the emotion that that cast brought to that production, it made me feel quite confident about the future of theatre and performance, and especially in the Northwest. And I kind of thought, oh, it might be all right. These have got it. These women have got it. So, you know, that was quite inspiring for me to see and feel that, you know, I look forward to seeing them as performers develop, and obviously Tmesis as well. So is there anything you've been cooking up while we've had this time? I don't know who's got any time. I've had no time, but, you know, I feel like I've had less time to do some things because there's so much to do. But have you sort of cooked up any new ideas between you for the future of Tmesis, or show ideas or anything like that? You can give us a sneak preview of.
Well, not really. I mean, I'm continuously thinking about ideas and creative ideas. That kind of hasn't changed, except actually I feel that maybe I do have a little bit more space for that, which is nice. We've been talking a lot about how we're doing a lot of female focused work. We've got a group of 20 women on our development course, so we're continuing our sessions with them and thinking about how we look at a creative project to support them during this time, and other groups that we're working with. So yeah, just thinking about a lot of that kind of work, how we develop it, and potentially doing an exciting digital project, funding dependent.
Yes, we know that one.
Which isn't about just putting up a show we have online. It's that'd be working with 5 different female writers on different aspects of being a woman.
Amazing. Fabulous. Well, thank you both very much for joining us, and we're glad that we haven't had to cancel or postpone anything you're bringing, but we were lucky enough to be part of Wicked Women, and you know, we look forward to bringing your work to the studio in the future, because the audience is all there for you. They really want it, so we can't wait. Best of luck, and hope you come through this good and full of ideas and energy for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so there we go.
So that was Tmesis. Thank you to Eleanor and Claire for that, and a couple of other thank yous. We want to thank you, Phoebe Millington, who's been helping putting the theatre festival together. Obviously slightly different than she'd planned, but she's been shadowing me at the studio and doing some fantastic photography as well. So thank you, Phoebe, for all your work. And Meg, you've got someone to thank as well?
Yes, I'd like to thank Monday Green as well. The top of this this stream, we had a little song playing on background, and that song was specifically a Monday Green track that was used in the metronomes. That was before I started, so I think you've got a bit more idea there about the song and the track and how it was used. Yeah, so in our metronomes, which we would have been doing as part of the Theatre Festival, which is a improvised play based on local music. So we may, depending on how long this goes on, start another one. But Monday Green were part of the first one. We did one with Catalyst last year with Matthew McGurty's song, and you know, this year, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows? But thank you to everybody who sent in stuff for tonight as well. So obviously, as we said, we don't want to talk too much in between. So we're going to crack on now to the next one, which is Petite, Ullaloom and Altered Scale. And they were due to have a production at the studio in June. So it's a little message from them and a little clip. Here we go.
Hello there, my name's Austin from Altered Scale Theatre.
And my name's Lucy from Petite Ullaloom Theatre.
And together we've collaborated to make a show called When Another Dragon Roars, a storytelling show about dragons and emotions.
And we'll be coming to the Studio Loons sometime in autumn.
But for now, here's a sneaky peek of what you can expect. Bye.
Hope you enjoy it.
To get away. Fresh air and that. It's a treat. You see, he can be a bit, well, you know.
Roll, will ya? Be tough, will ya? She's my mum. She thought this would be a good idea. She can be a bit, you know.
Alfie, his dad, school, worry.
Once there was a dragon that was fierce and as scary can be.
And once there was a dragon's egg that was precious and fragile and bright.
Once upon a time, there was a boy.
Once upon a time, there was a mom.
Fabulous. There we go. So yes, coming in autumn.
Yeah, so we will get that back and hopefully reschedule all the things that we had planned. And something else we had planned was the actual youth theatre that's at the studio now on a Tuesdays from the TAP. I was going to the TAP project, it's not the art project. It spells TAP. They don't do tap dancing, although they could. They could. They have a dancer. This is a message coming up now from Andrew Rogerson, who runs the junior class and his little helper. So I'm sure you'll enjoy seeing this.
Hello everyone.
Hello everybody.
We hope you're well. Before we begin, I just want to say it's been wonderful seeing so many of the studio members and the wider arts community taking part in such a great online presence during this very strange period in our lives. So we hope you're all keeping well and staying safe and keeping positive too. Louise has asked me and Igor to say a little bit about TAP, the arts project, and especially the youth theatre. Unfortunately, we had to finish our sessions early, like so many other user groups, because of the situation, and we didn't get a chance to see our hard work and fun all come together and show any kind of fruition. At the time, we were working on an interpretation of Michael Rosen's wonderful picture book, where
we're going on the bear hunt.
That's right. And at the time, Igor here and Jess and Mia and Eva were mastering the arts of walking through imaginary long wavy grass, swishy swashy, or deep cold rivers, wish wash, or oozing thick mud, squelch, 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 and other precarious kinds of natural phenomenon that they hadn't walked through as we hunted down our imaginary bear. You're not going to catch a very big one with that.
No.
Anyway, as well as that, we were also exploring our own ideas using, what were we using here? Can you remember? The long word that means making things up as you go along.
Improvisation.
That's right, improvisation. And if you want to see any pictures of the team working together, there's some cracking pictures, I believe, on the studio website. During our time in lockdown, we've been doing what everyone's been doing, I suppose. We've been wearing lots of hats, and not just metaphorically speaking, because we've been at home teaching. That's right. We've also been learning. And we've been umpiring. That's right. And we've been magicking. That's right. And we have been pirating. And we've been remembering friends. That's right. And we have been pirating. That's it. Igor's also been learning to do lots of new things too. He's been learning how to play the piano. He's been learning how to bake. He's been learning how to grow things in the garden.
This may be in planet.
He's been learning how to ride a bike. Igor's also been reading some of the books that I read when I was a child. What were they, Igor?
Roderick the Red. And where the
Of course, we've also been keeping in touch with family and friends using social media, and we enjoy clapping for the NHS each Thursday at 8 o'clock. So after this lockdown period, we do hope and expect Youth Theatre will begin again in earnest, and we will be in touch with you to tell you about it. I know it's hard to make plans at the moment, but we hope to finish Bear Hunt and perhaps maybe create a Christmas ghost story for us to perform. So from everyone here in Splodge Lodge, and on behalf of everyone involved with the arts project, especially Matty, Ben, Sam and Alina, Igor and I would like to wish all of our studio friends a lovely arty weekend. And remember this: all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. Stay safe and remember how important it is to maintain social distancing. Bye for now.
Bye.
Oh, we got a little bit stuck then. Hi.
Oh, I don't think I was breathing watching your face then, Meg.
Probably for the best.
Oh, what's happening? That was a lovely message from Splodge and Igor. Fantastic use of hats there. Big fan of the hat use, me in a play. So hats off to you. Sorry, that made me laugh, even though it's like the old So if you are interested in youth theatre, hopefully we will be starting back with them on a Tuesdays, and they have a senior one as well. So that's for 11, 12 plus 13, I can't remember. It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
13 plus to 18. So there are 2 youth theatre groups there, and hopefully we'll be seeing some great stuff from them soon. Next up, we've got another kind of youth theatre. They're not actually based at the studio, but they were due to do a showcase in July, which has now been postponed. And this is a little message from, you may know him from the Brindley Panto, Andrew Curphey.
Hi everyone, it's Andrew Curphey. Just wanted to say a big hello and thank you for letting me be a part of your micro film festival. We were due, the Andrew Curphey Theatre Company were due to debut a performance at the studio in July with our brand new drama classes that we launched at the end of last year, but unfortunately due to the lockdown we've had to rearrange, and hopefully we'll be at the studio again sometime in the future. But I just wanted to say hey, hope everybody's keeping safe, and see you soon.
Short and sweet, there you go. Andrew.
Oh, I know, yes. No, it was lovely to have Andrew as part of it, so we do thank you. And he's got his TV show, the Andrew Curphey Theatre Company TV show, So yeah, go over and watch them. I think they have it on Facebook and Instagram. And what's the other thing? The YouTubes. I think it's on there. The YouTubes. I think it's on there.
Down with the kids, are you?
You'll be able to always. Even when I was a kid, I wasn't down with the kids. Next up, we've got a little clip from the VML. And that is Rob and Co. So you might know Rob from the vocalise sessions that he leads at the studio, which are now doing on Zoom on a Saturday morning. I enjoyed them this morning. This afternoon, in fact, it was 1 o'clock. It seems a long time ago.
Such a long day.
It's been a long day, but a nice day. And yeah, we've got a little, it's not so much of a message from them because they're still sort of part of what we're doing in Active. It's a little clip, a little comedy clip, and you might recognise one of the voices. So enjoy a little clip from Rob and Darren from VML.
Yeah, what is that?
Hello, Vicky. It's Rob from VML. I'm just ringing to see how you are getting on. Who are you isolating with?
No, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah, because I live with my mum, Shelley. Well, I think she's my mum, or my sister, or both. Anyway, she's like well harsh, because once she grounded me for a whole 15 minutes, all because I did right was go down Subway, because Rochelle's got a Saturday job there, and I made her give me all the money out of the till, and then I gobbed in the guacamole.
Right. Okay. So, are you missing school, Vicky?
I went there once. It was all right.
You went there once?
Yeah. I did maths or something or nothing, and I also did geography, chemistry, biochemistry, and that one where they're all talking in that funny language that I don't really understand.
Oh, yeah, French.
No, English.
Well, Vicky, is it fair to say you've always, I mean, it is fair to say you've always struggled with school, and you're, let's say, somewhat academically challenged?
Yeah, that's right, because I can't read or write, but that's not my fault, because I'm like totally stick sick.
So this is why you were bugging off schools, even before the lockdown happened, and you were arrested for shoplifting, I think, 37 times.
No, but yeah, but 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 I didn't shoplift, but I did shoplift, but I didn't shoplift, but I did shoplift, but I didn't shoplift, but I did shoplift, but I didn't shoplift, but I did shoplift. Because this whole thing happened that I don't even know nothing about. Because you know Trish?
No.
Trish. Rochelle and Trish. Trishy. The Trishmeister. Big Trish. Little Trish. Trish!
No, Vicky, no.
Well, she's got nothing to do with it anyway, so leave her out of it.
So how are you coping with the lockdown, Vicky? I know you were locked down in Borstal for dabbling with drugs. Is it the same feeling for you?
Oh my God, that is like so like well out of order. You don't even know nothing about nothing, right? Because I only tried drugs like once for a year. Apart from that, I did nothing or nothing. So you can stop saying nasty things about me in front of my back.
Vicky, I'm trying to find out how you are, and you're avoiding answering my questions. Tell me. You know, when you go to the supermarket, for example, are you exercising social distancing?
Yeah, I've always been socially distant. You can ask Alison, because we was at the back of McDonald's sniffing highlighter pens, because Alan fancies this bloke who works there, and he's got like 2 stars in his name badge. 1 star is for slicing gherkins, and the other star is for mopping up pests. And anyway, he took Alison round the back of the deep fat fryers, and she showed him her egg McMuffins.
Well, look, I see here on my notes that you're isolating with your baby. How is she?
It's not a she, it's it.
How is it?
No, but yeah, but no, but yeah, because we're all going down the offie, but they wouldn't serve us because Emma only looks about 9. So we were going to go to the Wimpy, but then Liberty said that she didn't want to go there because Tyrone was going to be there. And Vanessa then told Tony that I fancied David Wu. But everyone knows it. David Drew's got scabby legs.
Vicky, how's the baby?
I swapped it for a Westlife CD.
Could you? That's awful.
I know. They're rubbish.
Oh, give up.
Okay, so that was Rob and Darren. That's who you could hear there, Darren of VML.
Yes. Excellent use of the Zoom and all things online and lockdown COVID way of doing things. So look out for more things from them, because they're cooking up some good plans of how they're going to use this to create some interesting theatre online or comedy online. So we go into something a bit more classic now, aren't we? So we've got a little Cream-Faced Loon clip. So Cream-Faced Loons are a Manchester-based theatre company who focus on Shakespeare, and they were due to come with Hamlet. I want to say.
Yes,
I thought I was making
it
it
is
up there.
correct. Well done, Louise.
Is it Hamlet? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is Hamlet. Isn't it? Yeah. Cool. Why am I doubting it?
It's been a very long day, as you can see.
Is the Hamlet before me or not? Yeah. So we've got a little clip from them, so a little bit of Shakespeare for you.
Hello, my name is Abby, this is Keith, and we are Cream-Faced Loons Theatre Company, also known as the Loons. We are Manchester's premier Shakespeare company, and our aim is to bring exciting, accessible and affordable theatre to the masses. So we'll be at the studio next year as part of our Shakes It Up tour, where we're bringing new, short and family-friendly, madcap versions of Shakespeare's classic plays. And we're also coming during Shakespeare Week. What? It's almost like we planned it. Ah. So for now we're doing a lot of stuff at Loons Online, which is our online platform. You can find more about it on the socials. You can find us on Twitter at the Loons TC. And part of that is we're doing a lot of live stream performances. So for now, here is a clip of last week's live stream of Hamlet-ish, which will give you a little taster of what's to come next year. Enjoy. Adieu.
Oh, look, here it comes. I think he's soliloquizing. Perfect.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrage.
Well, I'm beatboxing.
I can see that, but why?
Well, you know, this is Hamlet's what, fourth soliloquy, and we are not even halfway through, and these speeches are starting to get just a little bit dry. So I thought we'd, spice things up a little bit and then try and engage with the youth to make it fresh and relevant. Peak, yo.
Yeah, I don't think you talking like that is really helping with the...
Come on, man, just try it. Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Don't say I never try anything. Let's do it. Okay.
Also, Abby, this still isn't the skull bit.
What?
No.
What? But it's the big spit, it's the big famous... You always see people with skulls going, to be or not to be. No?
No.
Okay, fine. Just give me a beat.
Boots and cats and boots and cats and boots.
Hey, it's Prince Hamlet. Remember me? Prince of Denmark? Yeah. Well, right now, we're gonna ham it up, okay? Are you ready? Let's go! To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, and them, to die to sleep no more. And by sleep, to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks the flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation, devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, to chance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, the dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil. Let's give us pause. Whoa.
To be or not to be, that is the question. The most famous question in the world.
This conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is secret all with a pale cast of thought deep. The enterprise of great pitch, a moment with disregard, the currents turn awry and lose the name of action.
To be or not to be, that is the question. The most famous question in the world. But no one's really sure what it means. But no one's really sure what it means. To be or not to be, that is the question. The most famous question in the world. But no one's really sure what it means. But no one's really sure what it means.
I'm just really conflicted, y'all.
There you go, that's Creamface Loons.
Yeah, so the reason I was hesitating is because it suddenly came into the head. No, they're doing the Tempest, Louise. Why are you thinking of Hamlet? But it's because
that's Hamlet.
Because that's what they were sharing with you. But they are due to bring the Tempest, and we have rescheduled it. I actually think it's next year now. We've rescheduled that for.
That's what they said in there.
Oh, that's what they said.
They
so
said
that's
it.
fine.
There you go. It's helpful.
They said. You don't have to always speak. Others can do it for themselves.
There you go.
Note to self, the thing I'll learn from lockdown. So we're going to move on now to Anthony Brandreth. So this is perhaps somebody you wouldn't know from theatre, but Anthony, or Anno, as he's more known, has done shows with me in the past where I cast him as a DJ, and he had to DJ through a version of Mountain Language at the British Legion before it was knocked down. That's not right, it got knocked down. Just quickly add. Yeah, and that was great. So we kind of thought he might be up for it. So, and he sent us something that he's written and created during this lockdown experience. So
You haven't even got to see it yet.
COVID-19 lockdown diaries. The unexpected guest. Lockdown. Day in, day out, day in, day out. Break for lunch, break for tea. I'm northern, I don't do dinner or supper. Breakfast, a break in my fast. Oh yeah, get it now. Meal to meal, drink to drink. Is it too early? Who's watching anyway? I'm bored as a bored thing. Working from YouTube, or home as my department likes to call it. Moaning on Twitter. I'm exasperated on Facebook, and I'm strictly macro on Instagram when it can be bothered. Splendid isolation? Not really. I should be doing what half decent citizens should be doing round about this time of the year. I should be out birding. I eat me lunch. I go back to my favourite habitat, the couch. What should I read now? I've finished the C19 update edition of The Guardian online. I read a magazine, and somewhere I'm in the middle of a 1977 Led Zeppelin tour, and it all goes audibly wrong. And anyway, it's badly written. And that's when it happens. The thing I'm going to tell you about. I'll be honest, I nodded off briefly. Don't judge, I'm 56. It was nearly warm and quite cosy, and it's been a long day. I'm not even sure if I dreamt. I read somewhere that you always do. But if I did, I couldn't remember it. And if I did, it wasn't one of them, you know, like when like the house is flooded and the lights have gone and there's like Noddy Holden and an alligator with a lightsaber. You know, one of them kind of jobs you get at Christmas after Port and Stilton. It wasn't one of them. Anyway, there I am on the couch. I'm giving it Zeds. Nodded off, slumbered, bit of shut-eye. Whatever you want to call it, really. I was well away. And then suddenly I wasn't. And at this point, I'm in what I like to call burglar mode. I'm dishevelled, I'm half asleep, and I'm not quite knowing what the hell's going on. But I'm kind of interested in a fearful way. And it's a sound. And I've got to say it's a familiar sound. Well, it should be a familiar sound. But I can't quite place what it is. Hang on. It's gulls. Gulls up in the air. Have I dropped my ice cream? I'm thinking. And I'm thinking, no, I'm on the couch, I've been asleep, what's going on? So it's confusion, isn't it? I'm not at the seaside, thanks again, coronavirus. I'm in my 100-year-old terraced house in the middle of a reasonably large Grimmuck North post-industrial town that you know and love. Oh, and now I'm sleep running. At this point I should confess that running isn't something that I take lightly. Although in my glory days I was a third-rate local team prop forward, you know, and it's something that even then I seldom do, but I very seldom do it nowadays. In fact, in retrospect, the last time I did it, it was for a black-shouldered kite that was disappearing around a headland in Spain. Anyway, I'm still running. So I've gone through 2 couches, I'm on into the living room, in and out into the dining room, posh, and basically I've hit the back door. So I'm saying, is the back door open? Luckily, okay, I avoid the impending hospital visit, and it is, and I run through. And I shout to my good lady, pass me the bins through the window. That, my dear Watson, is when my suspicions were confirmed. Osprey. Yeah, osprey. Pandium alliaceus. The fish eagle, if you must. The sound of every gull in the vicinity, all shouting and screaming in its direction. At first I wondered if it was kind of when the ants hatch, you know, and you get loads of gulls going up and having a look at them. But no, it wasn't that. It was one of our most spectacular passing migrant species on its way north, and it was currently soaring over the house. And it has like angular pointy wings, and it's white underneath. It looks a little bit like the gulls that are mobbing it, but it's got a clear white underbelly, and it's got lovely dark carpal matches here by its elbow, and it's got like smudgy earlobes, ear patches, as the late Bird of Matthews would have it. Beautiful. An alien in our midst, a true stranger in a strange land. Even our local buzzards up here, the kettling eye, twisting and wheeling on their own thermals, but they're ignoring it as it planes right through a cloudless blue sky. Superb, really, really superb. So it's soaring in my lake like a good one. All mine, nobody else's. My own little lockdown treat. It's disappearing rapido, and I'm not convinced the missus saw it, even though she said she did. Although she did once fluke a red kite when I sloped off to the pub in Pembrokeshire. Remember them pubs? I was on a camping holiday. Anyway, it doesn't soar, it doesn't lose height, it keeps going, northerly direction. Even in my 50 times binoculars, I'm still struggling with it. But what a day, what a sight. Unexpected and very much appreciated. Sometimes it's the not so little things in life that keep you going. Now I'm off to WhatsApp because I've got loads of local bird groups, and in a virtual kind of grip off situation, so I can say what I've seen and they'll be really disappointed. After that I might catch up with that nap on the couch. Lovely. Happy days.
So yeah, probably try not to sleep run if you could, Anna. That would be a good start.
Yes. Unusual tales. And Monroe must have realised
so
that...
you've got a friend?
Yes, Monroe must have realised it was Anna there, so he's come running. And wants to take part in the Theatre Festival dog, yes.
Oh, yes.
So theatre isn't just about big kind of, flamboyant sets and things like that. It can be about stories and the basic sharing of those stories, and that's something that we want to be mindful of when we're booking anything at the studio. So it is about sharing stories. It's about empathizing with other people's experiences and learning a little bit about other people's lives and thinking differently. So we've got some stories that we're going to release as well tomorrow as part of the theatre festival that the writing group have done. So it's kind of lockdown literature. Some of it's been written before, but we don't mind. It's been created and recorded during the lockdown, so we'll let them off. And so that's going to be about 3 o'clock tomorrow. We'll release that. So, and also we've been gathering the story thread from today from Facebook and Twitter, and that's going to be on there as well. So we're holding back. We usually record them on a Saturday.
Yes, but we're far too busy.
So we're going to save those for tomorrow. So thank you, Anno, for that, sharing that story.